we left it down there. They scored touchdowns right there.
Jason Simpson joins us, UT Martin football coach. Coach, I'll turn your volume up a little bit. Thank you. Congratulations on the big win over Central Arkansas.
Well, thank you. And
I bet you've heard that a couple times in the last couple of days.
A couple times, but I tell you what, what's kind of neat is that we've won enough games around here that I think people expect it. Yeah. And that's great.
Yeah,
no. I think I'm the only one that said they were that good, and so everybody else just thought it was. That's a Division II team that moved up to FCS a couple years ago. But that team won a bunch of games.
Very good. They were big too. They had size. And
they did. And like I said, very proud of players and the staff. And there's some things we can get better on. You always like to win and go back and correct your mistakes. And we certainly got a lot we can do. But like I read what their coach said, that our players played hard for 60 minutes and theirs played hard for 30 minutes, and there's a lot of truth to that because when they came out in the second half now, they were playing desperate and their defense really stoned our offense.
You said they would in our halftime interview. You told John they're going to come out and play in the second half.
And they did. And now, we were very conservative, and we're trying to make sure we had a 14-point lead, then a 10-point lead. I wanted them to have to beat us. And they almost did it without us beating ourselves. So it was good to get out there with a win and get into the open week.
Well, I'm sure people have asked you about this, but I want you to take us through the last minute of the game from a coaching strategy standpoint, your options, why you chose to do what you did, which obviously worked, and how the game unfolded there at the end. I'm just going to shut up and let you talk.
Well, first and foremost, we get a silly penalty on the great interception. Leon made a great play. Leon Carlton did, and hopefully we learned our lesson there. We flipped the ball to the guy. We got too excited, and we deserved the unsportsmanlike. So that backed us up inside the 5. All right. So obviously there, if you get a first down, they're going to burn 2 timeouts, and it's under 2 minutes. So you can't run out the clock. You got to get a first down, or they're going to get the ball back. And so we run the first play, and I think we get 2 yards, which we got to be better in that situation and grind that out for a 4-yard gain. So on second down, we actually had a mistake in personnel, and it almost cost us. As a matter of fact, we ended up with only 10 men on the field, and I didn't want to burn the timeout. And as the coaches, we've got to clean that up. But anyway, so we get 2 yards in the next play. So now it's 3rd and 6. And so didn't feel like the right thing to do was to throw it, and then we ran the ball again. So now it's 4th down. So I'd already played the scenarios in my head that, okay, we can punt it out of here, and we're going to be backed up in the back of the end zone. We can punt it, and even if we get a good punt off, they're going to catch it at midfield. All right. If he gets a 5-yard return there at the 45 with no timeouts, but there's going to be about 45 seconds left, and those big tall wideouts. The officials, I felt like at times were not letting us play and be aggressive out there on the perimeter. And so I was worried about pass interference calls, which stops the clock, which gives them another 15 yards, and I thought they'd get a couple throws into the end zone to win the game. At worst, they were going to tie it. I didn't want to go to overtime. They had a 5th-year senior quarterback, a lot of experienced players. Just did not feel like overtime was the right thing for us to do.
So the score is 24-21.
Right. And so at that time I said, well, let's take the safety, and Satterfield did a great job. He ran around, and here's how it worked out. He ran off 8 seconds off the clock. Okay, so not only if we'd have just caught and punted it, not only would they got it on the plus side of the field or more, probably wouldn't have ran 8 seconds off. So we ran off 8 seconds there. Then we get the free kick at the 20. We ran off another 4 to 6 seconds as we got to punt the ball. So really we got to burn 14 seconds compared to maybe 4 seconds if we would just punted it.
And that 10 seconds or 14 seconds made the difference in the game.
Well, because they kicked the field goal with 7 seconds left.
Right.
So if there would have been 10 more seconds, they would have got another play. Maybe the ball gets closer. And, it's a little bit different trajectory for the kicker and doesn't have to kick it quite as low.
You've seen the block on film many times. For the fans that were there, if you didn't see the LJT replay, you haven't seen this. Describe how Javontes got there.
Well, at first it starts off with there was 11 guys that sold out to go block that kick. And that's what I was most proud of. You watch it on tape, and I wish I had the clip to show you, Chris, and you see the people on the sideline, and we got walk-on players, we got redshirt players, and people are celebrating and stuff when it gets blocked, and that was just really rewarding to see that on tape. But 11 players on defense went out there and sold out to block the kick. We got great push inside, and Snoop was coming from the offensive left. We ran one guy up the field, And Coach Bird made a great call because you've got different blocks. You don't just everybody doesn't just get in the gap and run. You've got strategic block points where you're trying to draw the eyes or the attention of one player and another player's running through. So as that player chases, another guy's, so that's what happened. One guy ran up the field, another guy across his face. Snoop jumps through that tight end gap and had such a great jump and actually he missed it with his inside arm and got it with his back arm.
Oh, wow.
He was that close to
That's
it.
double effort right there.
Yeah, and just I'm so proud of Snoop and how hard he's playing and how efficient he's playing. And it was great.
Now, you can't predict this, but based on what little flight you saw of the ball, if he doesn't get a hand on it, was it a decent kick?
It was a decent kick. We were talking about that today. It looked like it might would have been a little bit right. But you never know. It's a left-footed kicker, so it kind of comes off a little goofy sometimes. Yeah. So I don't know, but all I know is we got our hand on it. And I was thinking, remember EKU in 2008?
Yeah.
It was it was the same place, 42-yard kick, and that's what that was. And remember, we lost the conference championship, so it kind of worked in our favor. I hope so.
It just took long enough for it to come back around. What a big win! One of the things that impressed me too is that we talked about how good their rush defense was, and had been all season. You ran the ball on them in the first half.
In the first half, we did. No, I was very proud.
And you didn't back away from what we thought their strength was.
And that first play was 11-play drive, and the difference was too. Now, I mean, DJ ran hard, and we created some holes for him, and the receivers were blocking. With Dillon in at quarterback, it gives us, he had 100 yards rushing. And some of them were design runs, some of them were scrambles. And so, that can make us difficult to defend. Now, we've got to start throwing the ball better. We've got to get those safeties out of there and be more efficient in the throwing game. But, I was proud of the players. We were ready to play, and I'm not so sure that they were. And having that 14-point lead and missed the long 51-yard field goal to take a 17-point lead at half.
And Jeremy Butler, who had been just terrific in the first two games, his numbers were down a little bit, but I mean he had one of the big touchdowns that helped win the game.
Well, he did. Of course, we were watching tape earlier today. Of course, he had the drop that was a big gain, and that would have got him over 100 yards. That was about a 25-yard gain. But
the one drop might have been the easiest opportunity he's had all season.
All season, yeah. But for him to catch that slant, we got zero coverage. It brought the blitz. Dillon checked it and made the little slant, and it was a big play for us.
And I tell you, the atmosphere, and I know as a coach you see part of it, but you're not in the middle of it because your focus is on other things. But Dr. DiPietro was there. The family picnic was outside the Bob Carroll football building. A lot of times in football, the fans will start filing out early in the fourth quarter or late in the third. This was fantastic. They stayed.
They did. No, that was probably, in my 8 years now, that's probably the best from start to finish atmosphere that we've had.
I agree.
And the students that were there, thank you for being there. Appreciate you. Those that were not, you missed a great game. I wish you would be there. It's a great. What else on Saturday night? I mean, come and party with us. Come and have a great time with us. Keith Carver texted me and said that we're 4-0 when Dr. P's been here.
We got to get him more. And he was at the Chattanooga game.
Exactly.
Also.
We're 4-0 when he's come and watch us play. So
and
that's
he's
good.
an Eastern Illinois
that's
guy
good
back
deal.
in the day.
And it was kind of neat too. Penny Mosier always sends me a nice nice email after each game, and she sent me one. And she said, "Jason, besides the win, the best thing was there was a traffic jam after the game."
Oh.
So everybody stayed, and I appreciate that. And Hatler and Briggins and Scott McDonald and that whole group that gets that tailgate going. Thank you for that great atmosphere.
I'm not going to thank Hatler because he promised me a cheeseburger, and I never got one. Coach, OVC teams were 6-2 Saturday, including a pair of victories against nationally ranked teams. I think that says something about the OVC this year.
Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, it's we say we're 2-1, but we hadn't won one conference game yet, and you keep looking, and Eastern Illinois is rolling, and a lot of teams are getting some big wins.
You have a bye week. How's the placement of this week being the bye week for you?
Well, it's good because it's right now. In about 3 weeks, we'll wish it was then.
Yeah.
And so, but that's okay. We've traveled a lot and 3 top-notch opponents. We need to go back and get better and concentrate on some things that we can control. And we're looking forward to three great days of practice this week before Southeast Missouri next week.
And I think I saw you somewhere quoted as saying some might have thought we would be 0-3 now and we're 2-1. So you got to be happy with that.
Well, I am. And we were talking today, man. And I'm not. we wish we had the Boise State game again and played better and represented our program better and gave ourselves a chance, but we didn't. And but we're 2-1, and we can play a lot better, guys. We really can. Now, our defense-wise, after watching the tape today, the energy and the effort and the plan the defensive coaches had, that defense was fun to watch. Mm-hmm. And we gave up a few plays, but that's a good offense. And we held them to 50-something yards rushing. Okay, so we made them one-dimensional, and their receivers are good. But I thought we matched them, and to hold them to 21 points and get the 2 turnovers, that's something to build on.
Coach, every year the personality of a team is different. You can use certain words to describe it. I know it's early in the season. We're only 3 games in.
Right.
But how do you describe the personality of this team?
It's a fun group. You know, you got guys like Bobby Ellis.
Yeah.
You know, Bobby Ellis is your starting linebacker, and he's 5'8". He does his student teaching during the day and comes to practice in the afternoon.
Oh, I didn't realize.
You know,
that.
and he makes 10 tackles a game. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's just that.
And he'd run through a wall.
I mean, it's fun to watch those guys. You look at a guy like Snoop, and last year he struggled so much coming from junior college, and he had to play, and he didn't know the system, and he was thinking too much and wasn't really just reacting and playing, and now he's able to turn his body loose and go make some plays, and it's just fun to see the growth. It's a fun group to coach. It is. They're making a lot of mistakes, but they believe in each other. They believe in the program. They believe in the systems on both sides of the ball, and it's a fun group.
You know, I see watching their physical demeanor on the field before game and after games. It does look like they have fun, and I mean this in a nice way. But there's a seriousness there, but it doesn't look like they have a lot of pressure on themselves.
No,
they're loose. I guess.
I mean they play, you know, with the swagger.
Yeah,
there's a swagger about them, and you know, it's a swagger, but with with some humility with it. Mm-hmm. And some need to be a little bit more, show a little bit more humility, but that's okay. It's a physical game. It's an emotional game. But they do. They believe whoever they line up against, they're going to have a chance to win. And, it's our job to keep giving them those opportunities.
So the bye week, you get extra days. What are your goals with those extra days? What do you do as a coach?
First and foremost, we got to go back and continue to work on fundamentals and things that we've just been consistently, that you're going to do for the rest of the season. Our kickoff return and our punt return units have got to get better. We've got to get something out of those 2 units. And then we've got to continue to work on throwing the football and being more balanced in our offense.
Okay. Skyhawks have the Saturday off, then they'll take on Southeast Missouri a week from Saturday. Congratulations again, Coach, and thank you.
Well, thanks to everybody that came. Appreciate it, and we'll be back in a couple weeks. Look forward to seeing everybody.
Coach Jason Simpson, UT Martin on the road at Cape Girardeau, about an hour and 45 minutes away from Martin. Support the Skyhawks on the road a week from Saturday. Go to utmsports.com for all the information when it comes to UT Martin football and all the sports, and also ovcsports.com to see how UT Martin compares with the other teams in the conference. And that Southeast Missouri game will be the OVC opener for the Blue and Orange. Thanks to Coach Jason Simpson. Also thanks to Donley Canary, who joined us. Don't forget to join them for their Fall Classic coming up, and they will be playing on the 20th and 21st at the Martin Parks and Recreation Complex, and also Betty Giles Field. And always thanks to Frank and the gang at Snappy Tomato Pizza. I'm Chris Brinkley saying so long, everybody. Bob Kessling coming up next with the Big Orange Hotline. Unfortunately, they have to look back at that Tennessee game, and that's coming up next on the UT Martin Skyhawks Sports Network. So long.